Okay, let's do it together. Om Bhadram Karnevih Shunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemaksha Viryajatraha Sthirairangaistuštuvag Shastanubhihi Vashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Shastina Indro Vriddhashravaha Shastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Shastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Shastino Brihaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. So we are studying Mundaka Upanishad. After dwelling on lower knowledge and the domain of lower knowledge, such as rituals, rites, and their limited nature of them, the teacher is now instructing the student into higher knowledge. Higher knowledge is about that reality, knowing which everything else can be known. Yesterday, in the last class, we studied mantra number 1 of second Mundaka, first mantra of second Mundaka. It said about that ultimate reality, that from that everything is born, just like from fire different sparks are born. Similarly, from that ultimate reality, hundreds and thousands of types of creatures and beings and things are born. And this is a very important verse which shows that as spark and light and spark and fire, they share some common characteristic. Essentially, they are same. Essentially, both of them have the qualities of light and warmth or fire. It can burn. Similarly, we are not fundamentally different from the divine. We are not fundamentally different from the divine. Moreover, we are also not essentially different from each other. What we emphasize is all the differences. Some of us are rich, some are not so rich, some are living in Los Angeles, some Sacramento, some in Toronto, or other qualities, educational differences, social status, social stature, all of these, according to the Upanishads, these are only incidental. Essentially, our essential nature is that we are all equal. We are all spiritually, we are all one. Just like the fire, which is our main source. So whether we like non-dualistic approach of there is only one reality and I am that reality, or we prefer that approach that there is God, an entity called God, and we are all part of that same God, part of that same God. The idea is we are not essentially different from each other. We are not essentially different from the divine. That is, our true nature is divine. That is it's a very optimistic message of hope, no matter what circumstances we are going through, no matter what our present situation might be, no matter what mistakes or problems we have run into. these are all passing, or these are all passing things. No matter how much politically we are different from each other in terms of political ideology, or things which appear to be irreconcilable. But Upanishad says these are all very skin deep, or essentially we are all that same divine principle, same essential spiritual principle. So now the choice is ours. Which one shall we emphasize? Shall we emphasize these changing realities, temporary things, or shall we emphasize the permanent and which is more unifying? The choice is ours. So that was one description of the ultimate reality, knowing which everything else can be known. Now, in the second verse, some more pointers to that reality is being given. And we should remember always that that ultimate reality is ultimately ineffable, cannot be expressed in words. Whatever we are speaking about it, whether Sat, Chit, Ananda, Ananta, infinite, all of these are pointers. Pointers in the sense, if we say nothing can be said about that reality, then there cannot be any discussion. There cannot be any point around which we wrap our mind around. So these are the pointers through which the ultimate reality is being pointed. So some of these are being told in our next verse 2.1.2. Let's take a look at it. Divyo hi amūrtaḥ puruṣaḥ sa bāhya-abhyantaro hi-ajaḥ aprāṇo hi-amanāḥ śubhro hi-akṣarātparataḥ paraḥ. The puruṣa is transcendental and formless. Uncreated, exists both within and without. It is without breath, without mind, pure, higher than the unmanifest. So when I shared the translation in my previous email, I translated this phrase akṣarātparataḥ as higher than the saguna Brahma. But later on, I changed the translation to higher than the unmanifest. Why? We shall see soon. All right. So this verse is about that ultimate reality, Brahman. Here it is being, the same Brahman is being addressed as what? What we
Puruṣa.
Puruṣa, right. Thank you so much for being attentive. Yes. So Brahman is being addressed as puruṣa, pure consciousness. So three things are there. In this verse, three things are being referred. One is this creation of name and form. Everything has a name and form. That is creation. Beyond that is unmanifest. Unmanifest, called avyakta. That is where this name and forms, all of these remain in seed form. Seed. Unmanifest, but they remain like seeds. Cannot be seen, but they manifest. Okay. So, and finally, that transcendental reality, which is beyond both this name and form, and also beyond the unmanifest. Here in this particular verse, akṣara, so far we have taken this word akṣara as the imperishable, referring to that ultimate spiritual reality called puruṣa. But here in this verse, by the force of context, here akṣara means this unmanifest, unmanifest name and form, unmanifest name and form, which is subtle, which is higher than this manifest universe. But that ultimate reality is even subtler, even greater than this unmanifest, which is beyond name and form. Okay, so that is one description of that reality, that it is even greater. Even greater in the sense of even subtler, even more subtle than the unmanifest. Unmanifest still has a creative part in it, name and form, out of which things will be created. But that ultimate reality is transcendental, beyond all of this. So that is being told. Divya. Divya. Divya means divine, transcendental. Its literal meaning, can anybody recall the literal meaning of divya? We use the word divya. Divya.
Shining.
Deva.
Shining.
Yes, Betty. Thank you. Thank you, Betty. The word Div, Deva, Devi, Divya all has the same root. Deep, deep. Deep means to shine. Shine. It's not that shining of the burning of lamp or this electric lamp, but that shining, that light is light of spirit, light of spirit. So Deva, Devi, these words means the shining ones, shining ones. Okay. Why shining ones? There we may imagine that this shining quality is also in us in the form of chit, chit, the conscious principle, which is like a light, which is like a light, which illumines everything, which even illumines our darkest part of our mind. Darkest part of our mind is illumined by this light of consciousness. Even according to the Mundaka, that when our mind is blank, we are not knowing anything, in deep sleep, then also this light is shining. Light is shining, only the experiencer, there is no one is recording the experience. The light is still there, but no one is actually recording the experience in the sense one who can tell later on what they experience. So the blankness of the mind, sometimes we say that I went blank. I went blank. Even at that time when I was blank, that light of awareness is present in us. In Deva, in Devis, deities, this light of consciousness shines brighter, brighter than us. Why? In us, there is also some impurity in our mind that kind of hides that luminosity of the spirit, luminosity of the spirit. It cannot, but still, as it were, it keeps the example is given that cloud, a small cloud, a very small, compared to sun, the size of a cloud is very small, tiny. But that tiny cloud can eclipse for some time from our vision such a powerful thing called sun. In the same way, our mind, which is a paradox, mind is also has close proximity with the light of consciousness. That is why our mind sometimes functions like such with creative insight. It illumines with creative insight. It has all this capacity to feel oneness with everything. And again, this mind can also be not so good, not so good mind, and many not so good things can also take place in this mind. The point is, in Deva and Devi, they are called divya, that their consciousness, the light of consciousness, is more prominent. So they are luminous. So this puruṣa is being called light of lights, divya. It means divine, it means chit, aware. It also means which is transcendental, transcendental in nature. Divya also means which is not in the realm of our tangible experiences. It goes beyond that, beyond the sense objects. And therefore, it is amūrtaḥ. Amūrtaḥ means formless, formless. Pure consciousness is like space, is formless. It does not have any particular form. It is infinite everywhere. But for most of us, or many of us, this formless is very difficult to conceptualize something which is formless. So what we have done is we have condensed that formlessness into form, the form of our chosen deities. Someone like Shiva, someone like, say, Christ, someone is worshipping the same in the form of Mother Durga, but it is the same transcendental, formless principle, and we are approaching with the help of a form, because it is difficult to comprehend. So, what is the ultimate goal? Ultimate goal is to transcend these forms naturally and ultimately. It is very okay to start with the help of some forms, but ultimately all of these forms has to give way to that formlessness, according to this non-dual Vedanta. But bhaktas, those who are Dvaitins, dualistic, they may not like the idea of formlessness. They may always like to see their relationship with a God which has got form. Okay. And we have no right to say that they are lesser and ours is higher. Okay. Because ultimately, Sri Ramakrishna resolved this formless and form, these two ideas very nicely with an example. The example he gave is that imagine that there is infinite ocean of water, which you can compare with formless God, infinite, no particular form, vast ocean. And in some parts of the ocean, because of cold, the water has taken the form of ice or snow. So it is almost like formlessness is now taking a shape or form. Sri Ramakrishna says that through the cool, or cold love of devotees, that same formless aspect of reality assumes a form through the love of the devotee. And again, with the dawn of knowledge, the sun of knowledge, that snow melts down, again melts down to that formless ocean. So here, the puruṣa is being told as amūrtaḥ, formless, like space.
If you think it could be serious, ask me to call emergency services or someone you trust.
All right. So next point is, so where does the formless puruṣa reside? It says, bāhya-abhyantaro, within and without. Within and without. This is a very wonderful concept. In fact, as I said earlier, the word puruṣa has two connotations. One is in Sanskrit, one is purnam aneno iti. So everything is filled in by this entity, this reality. So everything, it is all pervasive. Like space or ocean, which is water, which is everywhere. This same light is everywhere. Again, it is puruṣaḥ, which resides in the cavity of the heart. This body is like a city, and the city dweller at the center, at the cavity of the city, is the king. Who is that king? That same ultimate reality. So it is bāhya-abhyantaro. It is outside as well as inside. So that deity is not only in temple or church, in mosque, but it is everywhere. But the temple, church, mosque are special places. We find it easier to recognize that principle there. That's why we go there. It is in the temples as well as outside the temple. There is a wonderful story, I think, that someone went to a temple and in India, and there is a Shiva temple. So there, at the center of the temple, there was a Shiva lingam, that stone emblem of Shiva. And that person was tired. He fell asleep and lied down, and keeping his feet towards Shiva. And the priest came and got angry, but because in Indian context, it is thought to be inauspicious to show your feet the deities. Pointing your feet to the deities is considered to be inauspicious. So this priest woke the person up and said, "What are you doing? You are keeping your feet towards Shiva." Then this devotee said, "So show me a direction where Shiva is not present. Show me the direction where Shiva is not present. I will keep my feet towards that direction." So the idea is Shiva is there as well as everywhere. In the same way, that God is not only in temple or everywhere, but also inside all of us. That is also a great message of, that's a message of hope, that same ultimate reality can be worshipped outside as well as inside. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says several times that as if this body is a temple, and the sanctum sanctorum, which is the innermost chamber of a temple, that is where God reside. Here, okay, this side. Sri Krishna several times says that I reside in the heart of everybody. I here does not mean Krishna, the person, but the divine principle, and is witness of everything that is happening. So that is also a great message of the Upanishad. It is as awareness principle, it is the indwelling consciousness, as well as it is also as consciousness principle, it is present everywhere. Then another pointer is ajaḥ, unborn. That is, this spiritual reality was not created. Born means created. And if anything is born, it definitely will also have an end. But according to the Upanishadic vision, that ultimate reality was not born. Hence, it will remain all the time. And also, everything else is born out of it, but it was not born of anything. The logicians will say that if it was born out of something, then what that was born out of? There will be a ad infinitum, probably they call it ad infinitum, or regressive or something, logical, forgot. So there was no end to it. So ultimate reality, which was not born, which was not created, is this puruṣa, this spiritual reality. Ajaḥ, which was unborn, beginningless, and aprāṇo, amūrtaḥ. Literally, it means that it does not have vital energies, or it does not have mind. But here it means that it is not affected by our vital energies. It is not affected by what is happening in our mind. Okay. This is a paradox, that puruṣa, although it is everywhere, but at the same time, it is not affected by things that is happening within or without. It is really a paradox. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example that imagine light, a lamp is giving light. Under that light, you can read a book, holy book, and also under that light, you can forge money, you can do counterfeit things, but light is not affected by what you are doing. Light is just shining. Light is just giving its luminosity everywhere. In the same way, the puruṣa, although it is everywhere, without its presence, mind cannot function. Without its presence, our vital energies cannot function. But at the same time, it is not affected by any of this. And since it is not affected by any of this, it is uncontaminated. And when something is uncontaminated, we call it śubhro, pure. That is another description in the verse, that about puruṣa it is saying it is śubhro. Śubhro means which is pure. The example I like to think of as pure water, impure water. What is pure water? which has not been contaminated by anything. That is pure water. Similarly, this puruṣa, this spiritual reality, is not contaminated by anything. What it means is, in our day-to-day life, that no matter what we are doing, even adharmic things, even if we are doing, our core spiritual reality is remaining unaffected. Okay, so it's also a great message of hope that some of us may feel inadequate. No matter what we are doing, we feel like we are not sufficient. There is something more to be achieved, to consider ourselves okay. Or maybe we have had many bad experiences over which we had no control over, and we feel that those experiences are playing heavily on us, as it were. They are keeping us bound, or they are keeping us impure. Okay, but the message, if we take this message of śubhro, that no matter what our mind and other experiences, thoughts we have thought over times, that have not affected our spiritual core, our spiritual reality. That has remained pure all the time. So essentially, at my core, I have remained the pure I. The problems has happened in my thoughts and minds and other thought processes, which I can change. I have the power. Yes, may not be easy, but I can change all of these thought processes. And if we can do that, then this light, this pure, divine, transcendental light will be shining forth more and more through my personality. It is no less, no more in me or in you. The same light, only the difference is the expression. This light is being expressed through this limited thing called our mind and body. So if we can brush it well, it is in our power to make it purer, so that which we are already there can also shine forth, and which can express itself in every moment to moment in our day-to-day activities, day-to-day life, uncontaminated, pure. So in this verse, we find that about that reality, puruṣa, so many other pointers were given. That first of all, it is greater or subtler, higher than the unmanifest nature. Then it was divyo, shining, light of lights. So it is not something material. It is light of consciousness. It is formless. Ultimately, it is formless. And it is inside as well as outside. It is everywhere. It is unborn. It is deathless. Since it is unborn, it does not have any death. And it is not affected by our mind, our thoughts, or even our activities. And since it is not affected by any of these, it is śubhro, pure, uncontaminated. Now, if you have any question, please go ahead.
Yes, Pranam Swamiji.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Did I unmute you? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead,
I'm sorry,
please.
I unmuted myself. So there seems to be a hierarchy of thoughts or concepts or so at the lowest level, there seems to be this concept of manifested and perishable, maybe a little bit higher, manifested and imperishable. A little bit above that, maybe unmanifested, which you're calling in seed form. Is that what you mean? Seed form is unmanifested?
Right, right.
Okay. And then above unmanifested is what? Because I've been taking notes and everything that you're saying. So above unmanifested is uncreated and unborn?
Yes, the puruṣa, that ultimate spiritual reality.
And which is also transcendental.
Which is also transcendental.
Okay, so there's basically 4 levels then. Transcendental, uncreated, unborn, puruṣa. And then there's unmanifested in seed form.
Right.
And then there's manifested in imperishable and manifested in perishable.
No, manifested means it is perishable.
Manifested is
manifested means perishable. So it's basically 3. Basically 3. Okay. But sometimes, you know, some other variations may also come. For example, puruṣa without attributes. That is, nothing can be said about that reality, which is called nirguna, nirguna Brahma. And sometimes it is said that there is another aspect of that reality with some attributes, which is called saguna Brahma, saguna with attributes. For example, all of these that, you know, Sat, Chit, Ananda, these are ultimately attributes of that reality. So it is even lower than that nirguna, attributeless. So that can also be added here. But basically, we may think of that manifested universe and unmanifest nature from which everything came, and beyond everything, that transcendental reality.
And nirguna would be in between unmanifested in seed form and the puruṣa?
No, puruṣa is the nirguna. Okay.
Puruṣa is the nirguna.
Is the nirguna. Saguna will come in between. Saguna with attributes.
Okay.
Attributes.
Saguna with attributes.
Okay.
Now, I wonder if you can relate it to your lecture. Let me pull up my notes here on the spider and the web, which is, I believe, Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, is it? Yeah, chapter 7, verses 6, verse 4 through 6. Now, you give so many lectures, so maybe you don't remember, but this lecture actually had a very big impact on me. The spider, I think it's called the spider and the web, or the web and the weaver. Yes, which was about Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, verses 4, 5, and 6. Okay, you had given this higher principle and the lower principle. Is there any connection you can make between that lecture of yours, Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, verses 4 through 6, and verse 2.1.2 here?
Yeah, I have to look back. Okay, because I gave that talk long ago. Okay, yes. But can definitely be. Okay, so what may change is semantics. Differences may be semantical only, but the concepts are mostly same. Okay, Bhagavad Gita sometimes talk about three-tier reality, sometimes 4-tier reality. Okay, so depending upon context to context, but
yes,
they can be related. They can be compared.
Because a lot of what you were saying today reminded me a lot about that as well, same hierarchy. Yeah. But this is very useful that you clarified for me the 4 levels, and I'm sure others also found it very helpful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yes, morning.
So now I have a question about the purity aspect. I mean, I understand because it is the light and it is not contaminated by anything. By definition, it is the purest form. But then we talk about the pure and the impure are all part of, I mean, everything is Brahman, right? So from that point of view, I mean, because in a sense, we also think of good and evil, which is all part of what we experience. So can you just comment on that?
Yeah, these are really paradoxes. Okay, paradoxes. Imagine that that same pure principle is everywhere. At the same time, the what is making one good and what evil is the manifestation. Manifestation in the sense of manifestation of through this limited body and mind. Limited. So Swami Vivekananda said that each soul is potentially divine. Potentially divine. There is very important point. Potentially divine. Okay. That is, we are all divine potentially. True. But then it matters that how we were manifesting that. So I gave a talk last month in New York. Okay. Vedanta Society. And it was all about hero's journey. And then someone asked me this question. I knew that New York Vedanta Society is a place of non-dualists, and so I knew this question would be coming. So someone asked me this question, that you are talking about spiritual life as a journey and all of it, but we are already that. Why is the question of a journey? The reality is already we are. So why is the question of going or journey? I said, yes, true. That's true. Very good. But knowing something and feeling something, there are a lot of difference. I may know intellectually I am that pure infinite. And that also is so invigorating to know that. But how do I behave? Because Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita, they do not stop at only telling that we are Atman or Brahman. They also go on to give us the list of attributes of such a person who knows they are Atman and Brahman. And see those attributes. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partho manogatan atmani eva atmastushta sthito pragyastadochyate. One from whose mind all the desires have been wiped out, and one who is content with inner life alone. And no matter what you present before them, they are not elated. And no matter what is the adversity situation, they have no regret or no disappointment. So are we reflecting these qualities? In that case, we are not still there. There's something to go. So this is the paradox. This paradox will remain all the time, that if we are pure, we are Sat and Chit and Ananda, but then again, why we are behaving not like that? Not like that. And we may explain by the concept of Maya, that because of Maya, because of ignorance, that we do not know that we are that reality. But again, that is also challengeable. That means it shows that there is another reality called Maya. So there is two reality then. One is that Atman and Brahman, transcendental reality. And then there is such a thing called Maya, which is equally powerful, which is not letting me to manifest that reality. Okay. But again, Maya is real, again vanishes when knowledge dawns. Such is the nature of Maya. And after the dawn of knowledge, one does not ever feel that there was such a thing called Maya ever. No one again thinks that ever there was such a thing called Maya. They feel like I was always like this. I was always that reality that I mean, again example that I was looking for my eyeglasses and suddenly I recognize it is already I am wearing that. Okay, so no new something. Oh, no, new elation. No new elation, only knowing it clearly. So your question, to answer your question, it cannot be answered. Okay, this is the paradox. Although we are divine, but mysteriously we are not behaving like divine. So the goal is to make the inner and outer as close as possible. That is integrity. This is a Vedantic concept of integrity of character. That if we are divine, our every action should reflect that divinity. In fact, Swami Vivekananda gave series of talks in London, Practical Vedanta. And that was his emphasis, that don't behave as if you are already divine and treat everybody as divine. That is the spiritual practice, nothing else. No shravana, no manana, no nididhyasana, no meditation, no worship. That you know that you are divine, then behave like divine. And it is not that you are alone divine. All are divine. Remember that. I am divine and others are just fellow human beings. No. All are equally divine. So, if you are divine, what a divine being should behave with another divine being? Make that your reality. Behave like that. Behave like that, and that is the sadhana. That is the spiritual practice. That is what he emphasized in this series of lectures called Practical Vedanta. Interesting. All right. So next 7 verses, verse number 3 to 10, so all about how the creation came from one reality. We shall not go into the details. Okay. So most of them are poetic rendering of that. Idea is the same. Idea is from that one reality, or because of that one reality, these multiple whatever we are seeing, they evolved. Okay, they evolved. And you can read it because you have the book, which is available PDF, and I shall also provide the translations of all the verses. You can also go through them. What I shall do today is give you the standard model of cosmogony, Vedantic cosmogony. That is how this universe came out of one reality. I dealt with it very in details when we studied Aparakṣanubhuti. You remember the big chart? We shall not go into that one, but a redacted version, which will give a good idea about the Vedantic position of creation, how everything evolved. Okay, so I this whole afternoon I spent creating a document in Paint, Microsoft Paint. What I did first, I made a document in iPad with my pencil, the electronic pencil, but handwritten, and that is not looking good, on screen. So I spent 4 hours in creating that document to show you the Vedantic idea of creation. Okay, and I shall also supply it with the email. Take a look at it. So the chart may at first look overwhelming, but Bear with me. Okay. We shall read in chunks. Okay. The idea is this ultimate reality called Brahman, like sun, and there is a mysterious principle called Maya or avidya. Because of this, evolves 5 subtle elements. Subtle elements. By subtle means they are not perceivable. They are not perceivable. They are space, air, water, fire, and earth. They all evolved from this because of this ultimate reality. It will be wrong to say that they evolved from Brahman, but we may say they evolved because of the presence of Brahman. Okay. So there is some inconsistency here, but take it as it is. Okay. Brahman actually does not become, it appears to be becoming these 5 elements. Okay. If you remember Mandukya, Gaudapada says that Brahman exists on its own and creation exists like a shadow. Just like as a human being, wherever they go, there is a shadow always. Okay. Similarly, this Maya and creation is just like a shadow of Brahman going on all the time with Brahman. Okay. So the idea is this, and subtle element from first was space, Akash. From Akash, Vayuhu, air. From air, the water principle, Apaha. From water, the fire principle, Agnihi. And from fire, finally, earth principle or Prithvi. So these are again subtle elements, not the air, not the water we know, not the fire that we know. Okay. We shall see that from these subtle elements, those visible fire, visible water, they will evolve later on. Okay. But these are 5 subtle elements. Now, subtle elements have 3 aspects: sattva, raja, and tama. Okay. This is the quintessence of Prakriti, that Prakriti has 3 strands: sattva, the bright, luminous; rajas, the dynamic; and tamas, the dark, the lethargy, the ignorance. That these 3 together make up this Prakriti. So these 5 subtle elements also have 3 aspects: the sattvic aspect, the rajasic aspect, and tamasic aspect. Okay, so 5 subtle elements. When their sattvic aspect, if we take individually, the subtle aspect of space became our subtle sense organ called ear. Subtle sense organ, not this ear again. It is at the back. So this ear, according to Vedanta, these are apertures, or what is the term? There is a better term.
Orifice.
Yeah, orifice. Yeah, orifice or orifice?
No, orifice. O-R-I-F-I-C-E.
Orifice, yeah.
O-R-I-F-I-C-E.
F-I, okay.
Maybe
So
apparatus.
Apparatus, yeah.
Apparatus.
True. Right, apparatus is another word. Or the instruments. These are the instruments, apparatus,
Just the organs.
the organs, visible organs. But these are even beyond that, subtle. Okay. So we have 5. So from space, from sattvic space came air. From sattvic air came skin. From sattvic fire element came eyes. Not these eyes, the eyes even beyond. from sattvic water came tongue, and from sattvic earth came nose. Okay. There are some similarities they want to show them, some connection, like sound happens in space. Okay. And ear is where space is. I mean, in the visible spheres, sound appears there. Then earth, any source of smell can be traced to earth, like flowers and incense, all can be traced to earth, unless they are laboratory produced synthetic, which came much later. But they say most any fragrance can be traced to earth. So that way they are connected. Okay. Again, the mixture sattvic element, that is all the 5 sattvic subtle elements, their sattvic part take together and do a grinder mixture. Okay. Under a grinder mixture comes mind. Mind with its 4 functions. That is mind per se, which is deliberating this or that. Then intellect, which takes a decisive stand. Then memory, called chitta, which is the storehouse of all past impressions. And finally, ego, which gives us a sense of I am this, I am that. Okay. So all these are from the sattvic aspect of the subtle elements. And those subtle elements evolved from nature in the presence of the ultimate reality. Okay. Now, rajasic aspect. Okay. Similarly, rajasic aspects individually from the rajasic aspect of the subtle elements came 5 motor organs. 5 motor organs: hand, feet, and genitals, then our speech, that is mouth. All of them came from, each of them came from each of the subtle elements. The details we are not going into, but again, subtle motor organs, not this hand, not these feet, but at the center. Okay, at the center. These are apertures or apparatus, whatever we say. And the rajasic aspect of the subtle elements, again, grind them together, mix them together. Then comes our 5 vital energies. 5 vital energies, they are called 5 because they do 5 functions. Okay, prana, apāna, udana, vyana, and samana. So one is for breathing, when that energy is going upward, like breathing, downward, like evacuation. And prana, vyana, udana is when at the last, our subtle body, at the time of death, our subtle body is leaving this gross body. That subtle body requires some energy. That energy, last energy, is provided by this prana, vyana, maybe udana, if I am correct, udana. Okay, that is the propulsion. Just like when his rocket is launched, a propulsion is needed, a thrust is needed. So when our subtle body leaves our physical body, that part of the vital energy which provides the energy is one of the vital energies. Then another vital energy is responsible for circulation. All the elements and nutrition that is happening, circulating, that energy that is giving the circulation, that is one. And finally, another is digestion or assimilation. 5 vital energies. They came from the mixture of the rajasic aspects of the subtle elements. All right. Finally, tamasic aspect. Tamasic aspect of the subtle element, they, through a process called panchikaranam, they become these perceptible elements. 5 perceptible elements which are called pancha mahabhuta. Pancha bhuta or pancha mahabhuta. And these 5 subtle elements are called tanmatra. Tanmatra. That is, tan means they are present by name. You cannot conceptualize them. You cannot touch them. You cannot perceive them. Yogis can do that. Yogi, Patanjali Yoga Sutra says that through progressive meditation from a gross or perceptible element can lead you to their subtlest form. You can perceive that not through any sense organ, but through a method of knowledge which is called yogaja pratyaksha. That is, intuitively one can perceive those subtle elements. So these 5 subtle elements, their tamasic aspect mix up, do permutation and combination, and becomes 5 perceptible elements or mahabhuta. Go by the same name: space, air, water, fire, and earth. Okay, and their structure is also very interesting. So it is said in space, half of the space is half of it is from the half of this space subtle element. Rest of the space element is 1/8 part of air, 1/8 part of water, 1/8 part of fire, and 1/8 part of earth together. So each element has qualities of other elements too. Okay, but in lesser amount. Majority comes from its own subtle element. We are leaving out the details, okay? We are just trying to understand. And these 5 perceptible elements become our visible universe, the universe that we are acquainted with. And these 5 elements give rise to 14 levels of existence. 14 levels, 6 higher and 7 higher and 6 lower. Okay. 14 levels of existence, 4 types of living beings. 4 types of living beings. Andaja, those who are born from egg. Then Udvija, those who are born out of earth. And then Shedaja, moisture, bugs, all the bugs and bugs and worms, all of them example of this type of life, born out of moisture. Why they are telling, they are alone know, we don't know. And finally, living beings who are born out of womb. Okay, that is our physical parts, all our physical part, what we call our eyes and ear and nose, visible, these are born out of these 5 perceptible element, pancha mahabhuta. So also all the materials needed for sustenance of these living beings, food, water, they also come out of these 5 perceptible elements. Okay, this is the more or less the standard model of creation. And this model is based on all the Upanishads put together. Okay, so what is most common in them? But you will find that Upanishad to Upanishad, things or description might vary from in details, in detailing. In some aspect, there may be some variation, but this is the standard model, and the same thing will be told in Mundaka Upanishad in many poetic ways. That from this alone came all the Rishayaha, all Sadhyaha, all the sages, all the illumined people came out from that reality. From that reality came a cloud. From cloud came water. From water came life. This kind of poetic expression of all of this. So you can read all of them, these next 7 verses. And if you have any question, ask me in my next class. We shall not go through these 7 verses one by one. If you have any particular question related to these 7 verses, please feel free to ask in the next class. Okay. Idea is this: creation, everything came out of that one reality. Out of that one reality. Okay. So this chart I will send to you. Okay. Any question? Are the 14 languages the same as lokas? Yes. Prana, Vyana. Yes, Rick.
So then what is the binding agent?
Of what?
Of all these collecting of all these different elements, what binds them?
What binds them together?
Yes.
Upanishad will, yes, they are bound by this ultimate reality, Brahman. Brahman is the ground of reality. Brahman is the glue. Brahman is the glue.
So what creates, from which does the purpose come?
Which purpose?
The purpose of being.
I could not get it.
In other words, when the earth and the fire and the wind, whatever, they collect, and they collect, and then they express existence in this way or this way. This way has a purpose. That way has a purpose. From where comes the purpose?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the absolute is absolute. It is all by itself. It has no purpose. But in its expression, purpose comes. Why?
Exactly. So would anyone like to answer this question? Yes, Paul. Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it comes in that portion of the chart where you talk about the mind showing up, and one of those is like the decider, So once the decision has been made, then purpose can be carried out.
Now, I think Rick is asking even more fundamental question. What was the purpose behind even creation of these 5 subtle elements?
Well, I don't know what Vedanta says, but I think that can only be determined retrospectively after minds have evolved. Then purpose can be retrospectively imputed.
Right. So if you remember, all of you, Mundaka Upanishad, we took some karikas, Mundaka karikas, and this was very much discussed upon, that what purpose could serve Brahman, an ultimate reality. If it is said that creation will serve some purpose, it means that Brahman is not fulfilled, right? If I am fulfilled, why I should do something? If Brahman, the ultimate reality, did anything for purpose, that means that it is not fulfilled. It also felt incomplete, so it went out for creation. So Gaudapada gave took up a lot of stands, that someone says that it is the Leela, the sport, divine sport. But Gaudapada said, what purpose or Leela, what necessity can there be for creation? And finally, it concluded that this question is baseless. Okay, we could never know. We could never know why creation at all happened. Because first of all, from ultimate standpoint, there was no creation at all. Remember the point? No creation at all. Creation presupposes there was not something and something came out. But Gaudapada says these two things are going on parallel forever. It is existing. What is happening is things evolving and going back to seed form, coming out, manifesting and unmanifesting. When we say creation, it presupposes that there was nothing out of that something came out and there was some purpose for creation. But Gaudapada says that only one logical conclusion can be drawn, that there was never creation. This, what we call creation, is an ongoing process forever. So this question, when it started, is invalid. It was always there. Anadi. There was no beginning. When we are trying to say this fire, earth, water, what we are trying to do is these cycles of creation, we are just trying to take up one thread out of which we can see this cycle. But before that, before this air, water was created, there was another universe, another creation. So evolving and the two terms are there, right? One is involution and evolution. So it is continuously going on, evolution and involution. Okay. But we want some explanation of this universe. So Vedanta gives some story, it would appear to be something cruel, but frankly speaking, they say this story of creation is creating a straw man. A straw man which is created only to demolish, only to cut it off. Okay, but Vedantic ultimate standpoint is that there is only ultimate reality, one reality, and that is, we need to know we are one with that. All of this, how it came on all of this, is a secondary thing, secondary explanation for, they would say, for children, for children's storybook. Okay, how creation came, this and that. They say don't bother about. Take it as a black box. Take the creation as a black box and think about, I am here right now. Okay, and my goal is to feel oneness with that ultimate reality. Okay, so Rick, are you still here? So Rick, your question cannot be answered. Okay. Your question cannot be answered. Buddha mentioned that some questions are not edifying. Is there any point in asking them? Right. So this, so this really, that cannot be answered. Yes, Gina ji, yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, where does karmic consequences, causality fit in this scheme? And where does, in Patanjali Sutra, they talk about kleshas? Where do they fit in? Or does it not fit into this?
Yeah, all of them fit in. All of them fit in. For example, this creation, I mean, say one cycle of creation. Okay. Imagine 5 billion ago, we know one creation. So what is the seed of that creation? How it happened? It is an effect. If it is an effect, where was the cause? The cause was our collective karma in the previous creation. Our all collective karma in the previous creation that could not fructify, that could not play out in the previous creation, will play out in this creation. Out of that, it is created. Okay. And within this cycle even, our individual karmas are being stored in our subtle bodies, which will carry out our karma. Okay. And where the kleshas reside? Kleshas reside in our memory, chitta. Kleshas remain in our chitta. That is what here Vedanta says, mano buddhi chitta. Chitta means the storehouse of all our memories and afflictions.
So how would Gaudapada answer this question? Because he says there is no creation.
Yeah, Gaudapada's creation, you have to follow the logic that these cyclic things are going on forever. Forever. So there was not a point when anything came out for the first time.
No, but he said it doesn't exist. He said everything is an illusion.
No. He did not say like that. He did not say like that. That has to be contextualized, what he meant by illusion. Okay. He said everything, what we are understanding, seeing, working, these are real, but as real as a shadow of the real person. If the ultimate reality is absent, none of this will remain. Sans that ultimate reality or Brahman, none of this shadow world will remain. But because that is present, we are thinking that we are, in reality, we are doing this, we are attending this class, we are driving from here to there. None of them are illusion. In the sense of illusion, we understand. Okay. Illusion, what is the illusion? Illusion is, follow this. This is very important. What is the illusion? Illusion is not recognizing that all of this is happening in that ultimate reality. That is the illusion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that we are talking now is an illusion. It never happened, like magic. No, it is not illusion. Illusion is, according to Advaita Vedanta, we are doing all of this. These are truth, but not understanding that all of this is happening because of the presence of that ultimate reality. That is illusion.
Okay.
Okay. And taking that this is the ultimate, that I am my body and mind, you are your body and mind, you are your impression, your characteristic, your traits, that is all of you, that is illusion. The moment I will recognize that there is same ultimate reality in you, in me, in everything, in this laptop, in this Zoom meeting, we are beyond illusion. We'll be in the multiplicity, but also see the unity. That is called knowledge. Okay. Illusion does not mean that something that never existed and it is our figment of mind. Okay. So Maya is not magic. Maya is not recognizing the fact that we are that reality.
It's very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Betty, you have any question?
I was just going to bring us back to the meaning of this verse, that puruṣa is above involution and evolution.
Yes, puruṣa is beyond all of this. Right. Right. But because of puruṣa's presence, it is happening. Okay. And those who know, I would like to say that it is better to understand Samkhya theory of creation. Okay. Shankha deals it very well. Shankha or yoga, their philosophies, there are two types of reality. One is consciousness, another is unconscious matter. And this material evolution happened on its own, but the presence of puruṣa is needed. Puruṣa is like the power supply for this creation. Although puruṣa is unaffected, it is just present. Is just present, and because of its presence, Prakriti itself evolves and things. So two realities. Advaita Vedanta wanted to go beyond these two realities. Why it is so? Historically, that many questions came. If Purusha and Prakriti are of two different natures altogether, one is conscious, one is unconscious, one is chit, one is achit, one is full of bliss, another is mixture of, then how these two types of realities which are so different are interacting at all? We don't see that so different things existing together and interacting. That became a, philosophical question. So they, what they did, non-dual Vedanta, that they said all of these dualities are okay. These are real. But in our transactional level, they are real. Okay. But at the dawn of knowledge, these dualities will vanish. How they will vanish? Shall I stop seeing all of you if I am illumined? No, I will see all of you at the same time. Will know that all of you, all of me, everything is expression of that divine reality. Okay. So when non-dual Vedanta is telling that all of these are actually one reality, they are talking from that standard or that level of reality. Okay, that level of reality. And when Sankhya is explaining it, Sankhya is explaining it from the empirical standpoint. We are seeing this, all of these, so they are real. And so they are explaining in their term. And Advaita Vedanta then will ultimately say that all of these are true, but these are vivarta. Vivarta means appearing to be. That one reality is appearing to be. One reality did not become. As milk become yogurt, not in that way, ultimate reality become all of this. Ultimate reality is appearing to be all of this. Okay, this is something difficult to wrap our mind around, but this confusion will remain until we have experience of that reality. This will remain. This will remain intellectually all the time. This can only go when really we have knowledge, aparakṣanubhuti. All right, so the task for you to go through the 7 verses, okay, and note down. Also, try to find out some of them are very poetic, and if you have any question about any of the verses, we can discuss in our next class. Okay. Next 7 verses. 2.1.3 to 2.1.10. All right, let's say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti and conclude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace.